Hello there. Welcome to Sumit Academy. I do hope that you have subscribed to my channel. Do subscribe now so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. In this video, we shall talk about disaster management. This video will be useful for you not only in answering questions on disaster management, but can form the basis of an essay on the subject too. Disaster management is the organization and management of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergencies. In particular, preparedness, response, and recovery in order to lessen the impact of disasters. Disaster management thus aims to reduce or avoid the potential losses from hazards, assure prompt and appropriate assistance to victims of disaster, and achieve rapid and effective recovery. The National Disaster Management Act (NDMA) 2005 defines disaster management as a continuous and integrated process of planning, organizing, coordinating, and implementing measures which are necessary and expedient for prevention of any danger or threat of any disaster, mitigation or reduction of risk of a disaster or its severity or consequences, capacity building, preparedness to deal with any threatening disaster situation, prompt response to any threatening disaster situation or disaster, assessing the severity or magnitude of a disaster, evacuation, rescue and relief, and rehabilitation and reconstruction. There has been a marked change in perspective. Earlier, the focus was only on response, relief, and rehabilitation. But now, all aspects of the disaster cycle are addressed. In other words, disaster management can be viewed as the integration of best management practices to deal with disasters. So, what are the elements of disaster management? The first of these is risk reduction. Risk in the context of disaster management is defined as the probability that a community's structure or geographic area may be damaged or disrupted by the impact of a particular hazard on account of their nature, construction, and proximity to a hazardous area. Disaster risk reduction strategies have the potential to save thousands of lives by adopting simple preventive measures. Lack of coherent disaster reduction strategies in our country and the absence of a culture of prevention are the major causes for increasing casualties due to disasters. Disaster reduction strategies include appraisal of likelihood and intensity of hazards and analysis of community vulnerabilities. Building of institutional capabilities and community preparedness is the next step. Crucial to all these efforts is the existence of a safety culture in society. Inputs like education, training, and capacity building play a very significant role. The traditional knowledge available with the community has to be used along with the knowledge acquired through research and past experiences. The disaster risk reduction framework is thus composed of the following fields of action. First, policies towards risk management. Second, assessment of risk, including hazard analysis and vulnerability. Third, generating risk awareness with the help of mass media and social media. 4. Preparation of plans for risk mitigation. Fifth, implementation of the plan. Sixth, early warning systems with the help of latest technology relating to data capture transmission, analysis, and dissemination. Seventh, use of knowledge. And finally, eighth, informed participation. You see, effective risk management depends on the informed participation of all stakeholders. The exchange of information plays a key role. Data is crucial for ongoing research, national planning, monitoring hazards, and assessing risks. The widespread and consistent availability of current and accurate data is fundamental to all aspects of disaster risk reduction. We now come to a crucial aspect of disaster management, that is the concept of TDRM. And do remember this term, Total Disaster Risk Management Approach. The TDRM approach. Although a few countries have adopted risk management concepts and principles in disaster management, most countries, especially developing countries, remain unfamiliar with this approach. The prevailing practices, particularly in Asia, are more inclined towards managing response to disasters, which require preparedness, than towards managing risks and the underlying conditions that leads to disasters, which requires, among others, risk assessment, vulnerability reduction, and capacity enhancement. The focus on risk in the search for more effective approaches to disaster management stems from the compelling need to understand the root causes and underlying factors that lead to disasters. The concept of TDRM centers around two crucial principles. Firstly, the involvement of all stakeholders, and secondly, implementation at all phases of disaster risk management, namely prevention and mitigation, preparedness, response and rehabilitation, and reconstruction phases. This approach attaches great importance to hazard mapping and vulnerability assessment as a fundamental tool for good decision making and efficient sharing of disaster risk information. The strategic objectives of the TDRM approach, remember, Total Disaster Risk Management Approach, are threefold. Firstly, to comprehensively address the various concerns and gaps in the different phases of the disaster management cycle by considering the underlying causes of disasters and the broader set of issues and contexts associated with disaster risk and its management. Secondly, to prevent mitigate, prepare for, and respond effectively to the occurrence of disasters through the enhancement of local capacity and capability, especially in disaster risk management. That is, recognizing, managing, and reducing disaster risks and ensuring good decision making in disaster reduction and response based on reliable disaster risk information. Third and finally, to promote multi-level, multidimensional, and multidisciplinary coordination and collaboration among stakeholders in disaster reduction and response, as they ensure the participation of the community, the integration of stakeholders' action, and the best use of limited resources. There are 5 implementation strategies for the TDRM approach. Let us study these. The first strategy deals with achieving effective disaster reduction and response through multi-level, multidimensional, and multidisciplinary cooperation and coordination. With the immensity and complexity of the disaster problem, no one stakeholder could effectively address the problem alone. Cooperation in disaster reduction activities among governments at national and local levels, NGOs, and various sectors of the community is essential. The second strategy deals with making decisions based on reliable disaster risk information from hazard mapping and vulnerability assessment. The TDRM approach promotes good decision making and effective use of limited resources. It attaches great importance to hazard mapping, vulnerability, and risk assessment as a fundamental tool for generating reliable disaster risk information, which serves as basis for making decisions on disaster reduction and response interventions. The third strategy deals with enhancing coordination and integration of stakeholders' action through good communication and efficient exchange of relevant and reliable information. Information plays an extremely important role in effective disaster reduction and response. Timely use of disaster risk information could mitigate, if not prevent, disasters. It should be effectively linked to local early warning systems, local authorities, and the media to ensure effective use of disaster risk information for public awareness and education. The fourth strategy deals with ensuring that appropriate enabling mechanisms are in place, including policy, structure, capacity building, and resources. As disaster risk reduction becomes essential to sustainable development, disaster reduction policies and measures need to be developed and institutionalized at national and local levels. They should enable communities to be resilient to natural hazards while ensuring that development efforts do not increase vulnerability to those hazards. The fifth strategy deals with implementing the disaster risk management process from the national level to the community level. Disaster risk management is a process for good decision making and ensuring the best use of limited resources. It applies the standard principles, process, and techniques of risk management to disaster management. The process presents a framework and systematic method for identifying, analyzing, assessing, and managing disaster risks in 6 systematic steps. Firstly, to establish the specific disaster risk issues. Secondly, to identify the disaster risks. Thirdly, to analyze the disaster risks. Fourthly, to assess the disaster risks. Fifthly, to treat the disaster risks. And finally, the 6th step is to monitor, review, and communicate. In general, this process aids decision makers in determining possible outcomes of risks and undertake appropriate measures to control or mitigate their impact based on reliable information and available resources. Overall, the TDRM approach presents as its added value quality and credible disaster management, enhanced efficiency in disaster reduction and response, cost effectiveness through sound allocation of limited resources, and therefore good governance. The greater challenge at hand is to explore opportunities and initiatives to adopt the TDRM approach at local levels. However, it is crucial to build consensus and political commitment at the highest level for adopting the TDRM approach as a strategy to address effectively the prevalence of disaster risks, the current state of disasters, and the existing gaps in the disaster management cycle. Indeed, political will, commitment to action, and nobility of purpose could spell a big difference. Through the participative approach, the determination of risks and the intervention measures are not imposed on the community, but rather accomplished by the very people concerned. Greater emphasis is placed on local knowledge and indigenous ways of knowing rather than on expert knowledge and technologies. This also allows for a shift of focus from hazards to socio-economic vulnerability, like level of poverty, human development, etc., of the communities at risks. In view of the current state of disasters in Asia, the need for improved disaster management at all levels is increasingly viewed as a development priority in the region. The development of the TDRM approach is a major progress in response to this priority need. Let's now go back to the elements of disaster management. Now, we have studied at some length the first element of disaster management, which is, yes, risk. We now come to the second element, and that is mitigation. Mitigation involves measures aimed at reducing the impact of disasters and efforts to prevent hazards from developing into disasters. It differs from other phases as it focuses on long-term measures for reducing or eliminating risk. Mitigation activities actually eliminate or reduce the probability of disaster occurrence or reduce the effects of unavoidable disasters. Mitigation measures include vulnerability analysis, zoning and land use management, building use regulations and safety codes, preventive health care, and finally, yes, public education. Mitigation will depend on the incorporation of appropriate measures in national and regional development planning. Its effectiveness will also depend on the availability of information on hazards, emergency risks, and the countermeasures to be taken. The mitigation phase, and indeed the whole disaster management cycle, includes the shaping of public policies and plans that mitigates the effect of disaster on people, property, and infrastructure. Now, after risk and mitigation, the third element of disaster management is preparedness. The goal of emergency preparedness is to achieve a satisfactory level of readiness to respond to any emergency situation through plans that strengthen the technical and managerial capacity of governments, organizations, and communities. These measures can be described as logistical readiness to deal with disasters and can be enhanced by having response mechanisms and procedures, rehearsals, developing long-term and short-term strategies, public education, and building early warning systems. Preparedness can also take the form of ensuring that strategic reserves of food, equipment, water, medicines, and other essentials are maintained in case of catastrophes. During the preparedness phase, governments, organizations, and individuals develop plans to save lives, minimize disaster damage, and enhance disaster response operations. Preparedness measures thus includes preparedness plans, emergency exercises and training, warning systems, emergency communication systems, evacuations plans and training, resource inventories, emergency personnel contact list, mutual aid agreements, and public information and education. As with mitigation effort, preparedness actions depend on the incorporation of appropriate measures in national and regional development plans. In addition, their effectiveness depends on the availability of information on hazards, emergency risks, and the countermeasures to be taken, and on the degree to which government agencies, NGOs, and the general public are able to make use of this information. The fourth element of disaster management is quick response. A quick response can save lives, protect property, and lessen disruptions caused by crisis. Along with traditional coping mechanisms, the response should involve meticulous planning and coordination. There is an urgent need to put in place a holistic and effective response mechanism which is professional, result oriented, innovative, and people centric. Quick response would entail the following steps. Firstly, mobilization of necessary emergency services and first responders in the disaster area. This is likely to include a first wave of core emergency services led by the Army and the Air Force, the NDRF, the National Disaster Response Force, firefighters, police and ambulance crews. They may be supported by a number of secondary emergency services such as specialist rescue teams. Secondly, restoring physical facilities, rehabilitation of affected population, restoration of lost livelihood, and reconstruction efforts. And thirdly, coordination amongst the concerned actors. Now, who are these? Government, civil society, and NGOs, the non-governmental organizations. The question now arises, what is the aim of emergency response? Well, the aim of emergency response is to provide immediate assistance to maintain life, improve health, and support the morale of the affected population. Such assistance may range from providing specific but limited aid, such as assisting refugees with transport, temporary shelter and food, to establishing semi-permanent settlement in camps and other locations. It may also involve initial repairs to damaged infrastructure. The focus in the response phase is thus on meeting the basic needs of the people until more permanent and sustainable solutions can be found. After risk mitigation, preparedness, and quick response, which we have all dealt with, the fifth element of disaster management is recovery. This involves restoration and rehabilitation efforts in addition to regular services. It differs from the response phase in its focus. Recovery efforts are primarily concerned with actions that involve rebuilding destroyed properties and repair of essential infrastructure. The recovery phase starts when the immediate threat to human life has subsided and encompasses relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. Those are the 3 R's: relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction. As the emergency is brought under control, the affected population is capable of undertaking a growing number of activities aimed at restoring their lives and the infrastructure that supports them. There is no distinct point at which immediate relief changes into recovery and then into long-term sustainable development. There will be many opportunities during the recovery period to enhance prevention and increase preparedness, thus reducing vulnerability. Recovery activities continue until all systems return to normal or better. Recovery measures, both short and long term, including returning vital life support systems to minimum operating standards. Temporary housing, public information, health and safety education, reconstruction, counseling programs, and economic impact studies. It is a myth that things go back to normal in a couple of weeks. Psychological effects may last a lifetime. Cost of recovery means loss of opportunity for development. Most need for financial and material assistance is the months after a disaster, but forgotten by then. The sixth and final element of disaster management is the concept of sustainable development. Developmental considerations contribute to all aspects of the disaster management cycle. One of the main goals of disaster management and one of its strongest links with development is the promotion of sustainable livelihoods and their protection and recovery during disasters and emergencies. In a development-oriented disaster management approach, the objectives are to reduce hazards, prevent disasters, and prepare for emergencies. Where this goal is achieved, people have a greater capacity to deal with disasters and their recovery is more rapid and long-lasting. Therefore, developmental considerations are strongly represented in the mitigation and preparedness phases of the disaster management cycle. Inappropriate development processes can lead to increased vulnerability to disasters and loss of preparedness for emergency situations. Well, that's all from me in this video. This video is based on the information freely available on the internet. No originality is claimed for the same. I express my gratitude to all the websites for the information carried by them. The intention of this video is only to prepare candidates for answering examination questions on the subject. I do hope that you like this video and do subscribe to my channel so that you do not miss out on my previous or future videos. Till later then, cheerio.